Title: The Shadow Behind the Mirror. Part 1. The Reflection, 800 to 1000 words. Lena had always thought the mirror in the hallway was just an ordinary fixture, like any other. It was tall, framed in dark wood with intricate carvings, and hung across from the stairs, catching the sunlight in the morning. Yet, over the past few days, something about it had started to feel off. It wasn't the mirror itself, but rather what she saw in it. At first, it was subtle, just a flicker at the edge of her vision, a shadow that seemed to shift when she wasn't looking directly at it. But as days passed, the shadow grew more persistent. Every time Lena walked past the mirror, she could feel its presence. It was as if it were watching her. And every time she glanced at it, she could see something moving in the reflection, something that wasn't there in the room behind her. The first time she noticed it clearly, Lena had been getting ready to leave for work. She had tied her shoes in the hallway, her back to the mirror. As she stood up, she saw, in her reflection, the outline of a figure, dark and shadowy, darting behind her. It was quick, too quick for her to turn around, but it made her blood run cold. She had spun around, expecting to see someone standing there, but the hallway was empty. No one was behind her. Yet, the reflection in the mirror was undeniable. The shadow was gone, but Lena could still feel its cold presence, lingering in the back of her mind. Just a trick of the light, she told herself. I must be tired. Maybe the house is settling. But even as she reassured herself, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. That night, after she returned home from work, Lena couldn't resist looking into the mirror again. It was a compulsion now, a need to understand what she was seeing. She walked slowly toward it, her heart pounding in her chest. Her reflection stared back at her, calm and unaffected, but she knew something was different. The longer she stood there, the more she began to feel the presence, like a chill creeping up her spine. And then it happened again. The shadow. A dark, moving form that flickered just behind her reflection, too quick for her to catch it fully. Her pulse quickened, and for a moment, Lena couldn't breathe. She reached out a hand toward the mirror, her fingers trembling as they brushed against the cold glass. There was nothing behind her when she turned around. But the reflection, the figure in the mirror, was unmistakable. The next few days were a blur. Each time Lena walked past the mirror, the shadow seemed to be closer. It became bolder, moving more purposefully, following her every step. She would glance over her shoulder, only to find nothing there. The house was empty, she was alone, but the mirror told a different story. The worst part, it didn't just appear when she was near the mirror. Lena began noticing it at night too. Sometimes, when she woke up in the middle of the night, she would look at the mirror, and there it was again, always there, lurking just behind her reflection, waiting. Lena tried to brush it off, tried to convince herself it was all in her head. But the more she ignored it, the stronger the feeling became. There was something wrong with the mirror. And it wasn't just the shadow, it was the way it seemed to react to her. When she stared at it, the figure would grow still. But when she looked away, it moved, shifting as if it knew she wasn't watching. One evening, as Lena sat on the couch reading, she heard the faintest sound, like a whisper, a rustle behind her. Her eyes flicked toward the mirror, and there it was again. The figure. It was standing still, its form dark and blurred, but she could feel its eyes on her. Something deep inside her twisted, and she knew with certainty that it wasn't just a figment of her imagination. It was real. Before she could stop herself, Lena stood up, walking slowly toward the mirror, her reflection moving in sync with her. She reached out, her fingers brushing against the cool glass. As she did, the whisper came again, louder this time, more insistent. Help me. The voice was faint, barely audible, but it sent a chill through Lena's spine. Her heart raced as she pulled her hand back from the mirror, suddenly overcome by the desire to flee. But she couldn't. The reflection held her captive. The shadow seemed to move closer, its form becoming clearer, more defined. It was no longer just a fleeting figure. It had substance now, as if it were a part of her own reflection. Lena turned away, her pulse thudding in her ears. She needed to get away from the mirror, to escape its pull. But something inside her, some deep, irrational part of her, whispered that the mirror was trying to tell her something, trying to show her something. She just had to figure out what. But whatever it was, she had to confront it before the shadow behind her took control.